All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, the 23rd of October, 2025. Look, I wanted to quickly do a little piece on the inflation numbers. Now, finally, we're getting something from the US, some sort of economic data, important economic data. So yes, I think that there is a little bit of an exception that, despite the government shutdown, we are still getting the official CPI reading. Now, look, this is needed, of course, for the Fed, which is deciding on the interest rate next week. So, but about all this and a little bit more in a moment. Just let me quickly mention the risk disclaimer. The content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'm not going to disappear anywhere. So yeah, like I said, the long-awaited number, CPI number. So we'll see how that comes out. Also, ladies and gentlemen, a quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. And also, just a quick update here, refresh. Basically, you can join my webinar, which is going to happen next week. We had a few issues with the registration, but now it's basically sorted. So you can go in and register, and just like leave a few of your details, and then yes, it's a closed event. So it's a closed live event, but you can certainly ask questions in there. It's going to be on Bollinger Bands, as you can see on the name. It's the third episode in the series where I talk about the most popular indicators in trading. I also put on some live trades just to see how we can utilize this indicator. Now, previous few times it worked out nicely. I mean, like I said, there were some interesting results, in my opinion. I think the viewers also enjoyed it. So yes, I was placing live trades on a demo account. So because we need to test it out before we can jump into real market stuff. Anyway. You'll find the description, or sorry, you'll find the link in the description of this video. So feel free to tune in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Right, now, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the economic calendar. And, I want to jump into Friday straight away because, what we're looking for is this set of numbers here. Now, look, the headline year-on-year inflation. Let's launch this one. Let me just put this on a bigger chart here. Now, look, I talked about this before in my previous sessions, and I talked about it when we were still getting, the economic data from the U.S. government, and this time, look. We are expecting a higher number, at least for now. We are expecting a number above 3%. Now, this is going to be an interesting moment, in my opinion, because if we do actually see the headline year-on-year number coming out above 3, and the same story on the core, which excludes food and fuel costs. So if we do see that, then in a way it's a little bit of a problem. I mean, in a way it's a bit of a issue that the numbers getting further away from the Federal Reserve's inflation target, which is at 2%. And if somebody might say, but okay, what's the difference between 2.9 and 3? It's again, another thing is symbolism. You're crossing a number, you're kind of jumping into a new kind of area, above 3%, and in a way, it's all to do also with psychology. Look, in my opinion, the number can come out higher unless it's going to get suppressed in order not to spook the Fed from going for those rate cuts. And let me just update this very quickly. So this is the FedWatch tool, and we know that next week we're going to get the interest rate cut from the Fed Yep, there were some speculations initially about seeing maybe two cuts, in this report, in this meeting, October meeting, and then still having like one cut at the end of at the end of the at the end of December, or sorry, at the beginning of December, so yeah, like I said, it's an interesting moment, but I think that we're gonna stick to one cut just because we the Fed does not have more data. They cannot see the NFPs because those were kind of canceled because the government went into shutdown. So we got the ADPs, which were a disaster, but then we didn't get the NFPs. Something tells me that maybe the NFP could have come out not a very pleasant number, maybe even below zero. And I think that this could have spooked the market really, and then all the deals, all the AI deals, or the deals that happened between the top major companies, Oracle's, Nvidia's, AMD's, and Intel's, maybe those deals would not be so positive for the stock, for their stocks. And because the market would be worried about job numbers. There's like this one economy where everything is booming in technology and blah blah blah, and then the real economy where actually the labor force is struggling, and we are not really getting more jobs created. So what I'm saying is right now, let's say I think that in October we will stay with one cut. I think that the Fed will say that we don't have enough data, and we'll remain data dependent. So let's go for that planned one cut. Now, coming back to inflation. Now, the headline year-on-year number. Look at this chart. I talked about this previously in my kind of a few months ago, even when covering the CPI. What I said that if we would apply technical analysis on this, we're seeing a nice little falling channel here. Now, again, I have to admit that you don't really apply technical analysis on such charts. It's just out of interest, let's put it this way. Because look, if we do apply technical analysis, then when we have a strong decline and then a gradual decline, and this kind of ends up being a nice breakout to the upside. I talked about these patterns before. These happen very often. Recently, one of the recent ones, I can say that it was in oil. Look at this. We had a strong decline, then a gradual decline, and then there we go. Poop. Conveniently came out. So right. That's what I'm saying. So that's why. Keep an eye on it disappeared. Let me just launch the chart again. So keep your eyes on this idea here, and in a way, like I said, if it does start popping above that 3%, I think that this is where the market could become a little bit worried, and I think that this is where we could see DXY actually pushing further north. Already DXY is climbing on the thought that we're going to get a number like above 3%, like a 3.1. So that's already stimulating the US dollar. Now, look, if we get something around 3, just like bang on 3, it is higher than the previous, but still missing the forecast. So this is where the US dollar could reverse back down. So that's one of the options. So in a way, initially, you're thinking that it's going to be above 3, and this could stimulate the US dollar more. That's why we're seeing that climbing moment right now. However, if somehow it comes out still below 2.9, or actually at 2.9 or below, on the headline here, on the headline year-on-year number, then I would say yes, the US dollar could weaken. It could bring more confidence for the Fed to go for those rate cuts. Look, for me, I will say it this way: I'm going to be watching the data, but am I going to really trust it? That it has been conducted honestly. At this point, I really somehow don't believe that, and I think that we are seeing some sort of like market manipulation, where the numbers are released only if they're convenient, and or we only get the convenient numbers. There we go. That's the kind of thought. So if let's say if somebody's asking you to go and lower the rates, right, and then you're saying that no, because I'm afraid of inflation, because it might be rising, and but you have the power to actually deliver those inflation numbers. So you kind of, if you want to reach your goal, you sometimes can manipulate that a little bit. Anyway, so we'll see how it comes out, of course. It's going to be very, very interesting. In my opinion, something to watch out here, like I said, is the US dollar here, the DXY. There's a chance for this one to travel a little bit further north. But if we do break this little short term upside line taken from the low of the 17th of September, then yes, I'm going to consider a little bit of a move to the downside. Now, in terms of currency pairs, now AED USD, look, I talked about this, and to me, this structure looks a little bit more bearish than bullish because looks like a bearish flag or some sort, and or bearish pennant even, because we have ourselves a drop here, a big drop, like which acts as a nice pole. With this little formation looks like a bearish flag, and in a way this could break out to the downside. However, I would prefer to wait for a break of this upside line and first, and then kind of get a little bit more comfortable with the downside. But certainly you can keep an eye on some of these key levels, like for example the 0.6469 here, and if we do get a nice clearance of that, then yes, wonderful. More sellers could join in. I will abandon the downside scenario if we do break this downside line. So as you can see, this idea is kind of more in favor of a higher inflation number. Speaking of another pair, another US dollar pair, Euro USD here, you can see that it continues to slide. I talked about this in one of my videos, my Markets Talk webinars, which you can join in, by the way. Feel free. Those are live tomorrow. I mean, I'm running one on Friday, so you can join in. But what I said there, that if we do drop below this 1.1645 territory, there is a chance for a drift lower. So far, so good. And again, look here, I'm considering a rebound, but at the same time, if we do fall below this 1.1542, this kind of confirms a forthcoming lower low, and we can actually abandon the whole kind of this downside line, kind of this idea from kind of rebounding from this territory. But currently we're holding above the 100-day EMA, shown as the blue line. So if that gets cleared, amazing, more sellers could join in, and like I said, supporting the higher inflation number. But if inflation comes out a little bit, let's say around 2.9, then I think Euro USD could rebound and push back up. Now, if we pick up on USD JPY, or let's say pairs where US dollar is the base currency, so USD CAD, for example, did drop nicely here. The Canadian dollar strengthened due to oil rising, and USD CAD here is pushing high, pushing lower, but it's currently holding above this 20-day SMA. On the Bollinger band. So about all this kind of this strategy, don't forget to join this one. That's why I have it on my chart. Look, actually, I use it all the time. I like Bollinger bands, and this is what I'm going to talk to you about in this webinar. But certainly keeping an eye on this area right here. What I said previously, that if we do drop below the 1.3986 right now here, then yes, this kind of opens the door to some lower areas. So be careful, be cautious, and let's see how this can play, how we can play the game here with this pair. I will get a little bit more excited with the upside if we do clear the highest point, the current highest point of October, near the 1.4080. USD JPY pushing higher, yes, of course, on the expectation that inflation might come out on the higher side. So let's be careful, let's be cautious. But look, I mean, if we do come closer to this 153.27 territory, which is the current highest point of October, if that gets cleared and we stay above it, I'm leaning for some higher areas. And USD CHF, another one which I'm really fascinated about. Basically, it's the we're seeing a nice push higher here. We're climbing, above this 20-day SMA here on the Bollinger band. So let's see if we can actually end up reaching that psychological 0.80 zone. We're not really far from that, so I have an alert even set here. So yeah, let's see how that's gonna play out. And very quickly on some other instruments, gold here. Gold is pushing back up. Well, look, with the US dollar, even if it rises, I think gold right now is a kind of an animal of its own. Yes, it's denominated in US dollars, but it's driven more by kind of sentiment and this demand. We're seeing some outflows of some from the gold ETFs right now. So there's an increase, and well, understandable why. Where people are taking a little bit of a little bit of profit here, which is fine, which is logical, to be honest. Look, we're seeing a nice retracement back up. We're holding above the 23.6 on the Fibonacci retracement, which is drawn from the highest point of, or should I say, the all-time high, which is basically around here. Yep, there we go. We're currently trading above that 23.6. We're aiming for that 38.2. We tested it yesterday, but once again, we're going to aim for that one. And then maybe, ideally, what I'm looking at here is a larger correction back up, maybe towards the 50%. Ideally 61.8 actually, but anyway, 50% will do, and then we'll see if we can, if we can get another drop here lower. Maybe if inflation comes out on the higher side, it could support the US dollar, and we could see gold coming under more pressure, not only because of the kind of the profit taking right now, but also because of the, like I said, the US dollar. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the stock market, actually, in terms of the stock market, we're seeing some corrections in Dow, the S&P, and Nasdaq. But again, be very careful. Let's say if we do see a higher number, that might not really sparkle well with the stock market, and we could see some declines. Although we are not far from the all-time highs, especially on the S&P and Nasdaq. Dow did already an all-time high, so a new one this week. But yeah, the S&P and Nasdaq are still kind of failing to go there. Well, again, like I said, let's not rush into things. Let's see what number will come out on Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this session, a little session, useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time. So yes, don't forget about the webinar next week. And yeah, look, I'll see you later. And as always, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. And I shall see you next time. Bye for now.